Welcome back. Now, I told you there are two pillars in JavaScript that are really important and powerful. One was closures, and we covered that. But now it's time to learn about prototypes, and specifically, prototypal inheritance. Let's see if you find this as fascinating as closures. Now, I have to give you a bit of a warning. This part is going to be really tough. It may seem convoluted at times. You may have to revisit the videos a few times. But keep in mind, what we're going to learn here will help us understand object-oriented programming coming up in the next section. So hang in there because some of this is going to overflow into the next section where you're going to learn more and more. All right, you ready? I hope I didn't scare you off. Let's get started. Remember this diagram? I told you that arrays and functions are just objects in JavaScript. Let's dive a little deeper into this. You see, JavaScript uses something called prototypal inheritance. You see these chains over here? They're prototypal inheritance. And what does that mean? Well, inheritance is an object getting access to the properties and methods of another object. So what I'm saying here is that the array object, again, remember, everything's an object, and the array object gets access to the properties and methods of the object in JavaScript. And same with functions. Through this chain that we call prototypal inheritance, functions get access to the methods and properties of objects. Now, let's demonstrate this in code. There's a special way that we can actually see this chain, this prototypal inheritance in JavaScript. If I create an array here, let's say array, just an empty array, and I do array dot underscore underscore proto for prototypal inheritance, and then underscore underscore, and I hit enter, I get this thing. It looks like an array, and if I open it up, yeah, it looks like an array, right? I have all this reduce, push, pop, map methods that arrays get. What happened here? Well, I created a new array. And this new array was created from, yes, this big array box over here, what we call a constructor. This array created our array variable that contained, well, an empty array. And I did dot underscore underscore proto underscore underscore to go up the prototype chain and get into this array. So by that theory, if I go up the prototype chain, I should get an object, right? Let's have a look. If I go back and do array.proto and then go up the prototype chain again, I get the object, or what we call the base object. This is the object that everything in JavaScript gets created from, including functions and including arrays. And we see that we have some properties on here. For example, we have the toString method over here, which means that anything that is a descendant of an object will get the toString method. So that means that an array, such as our array over here, has the toString method on it. Look at that, because of this prototype chain. Remember what I said initially. An object gets access to the properties and methods of another object through the prototype chain. Let's further this example. This time around, let's create a function, function A. And this function A, well, is just empty. Once again, if I go up the prototype chain, what do you think we'll get? I get this F over here, a native function. And this is our base function, where all functions are created from. So that if I go up the prototype chain again, what do you think we'll get? Yes, we go back to that object, that base object that all objects come from. All right, one last example. Let's say I create an object, object1, and this is going to be an empty object. Oh, let's refresh to make sure that we haven't declared it before. Now, if I do object1 dot proto, what do you think will happen? Well, we get the base object again. This base object is this one over here, right? I created from this object my own object variable, and that inherits, has a prototype chain up to this base object. And this is what prototypal inheritance is. It's a concept that over the next couple of videos, we're going to understand why it's so useful to us. As a matter of fact, this feature is actually quite unique and not that common in other popular languages like C# or Java. They use something called classical inheritance. JavaScript uses prototypal inheritance. Now, even though in JavaScript we do have the class keyword, and it's something that we're going to talk about in the object-oriented programming section of the course, in JavaScript, this is what we call syntactic sugar. There's actually no classes in JavaScript. We only have prototypal inheritance. So what is this whole prototype chain? Why is it useful? Well, we just started here, so let's dive a little bit deeper in the next video.